The more clients we talk to, the more we hear that a VPAT, also known as an ACR, is an absolute non-negotiable for procurement agents. And so for their product to even be considered for purchase, they need to have an ACR. And so this has led to many clients with web apps asking us about audits. So let's talk about the pricing for an accessibility audit of a web application. And on this next slide, I have a mock-up of a web app. And so here we have a dashboard with the dashboard overview, and we can see some different information on inside this dashboard and some different trends and recent activity. And then on this left side of the dashboard, we can see that there are different navigation panels that we can go to. So there's analytics, reports, customers, settings, and help. And then of course, we also have the account inside of this dashboard. All right, so now about web apps. So this is simply software that is accessed through a web browser. And you will find with web apps, you will find there's a dashboard with different screens or pages, and there's also the possibility for different personas. So there's a different dashboard based on the persona that is accessing the dashboard. And web apps are primarily accessed by desktop, and they are highly dynamic in nature. So there is a lot of dynamic content rendered, and this can include data visualizations, real-time updates based on inputs, etc. And then with the web app, we typically have an overview, reports, the ability to import or export. There will also typically be a knowledge base along with settings and an account. So for an accessibility audit of a web app, the cost again is going to vary, and it's going to depend on one primary factor is the number of pages or screens involved. So if there simply aren't that many screens or pages, then we're going to be, the audit cost is going to fall on the lower side. But if the number of pages or screens is higher, then that's going to lead us to this higher range on the slide. So the range starts at $2,500, and then in the mid tier we have $5,500, and on the high side we have $13,500. Now, obviously, an audit could potentially go lower than this, or even potentially higher. But this is typically where the different milestones where we're going to see the prices fall. And then so if there are a low number of issues, again, that's going to lean us towards this lower side. It's going to lean us toward the $2,500. If there are more issues to get through, then it just takes us longer to audit the web application. So that's going to mean a higher price. And if there are many dynamic components that we have to go through, again, that's going to increase our workload. So that's going to lead us to the higher side of this range. But again, the cost really does vary, and I've given you a lot of factors that go into the cost. So just think, if you have a more involved web application and you have many more pages or screens involved, many more pages or screens that comprise the web application, you're going to have a quote on the higher side. But if your web app is very simple and there's simply not that much to go through, then the workload is going to significantly decrease. And so you're going to fall in on the lower side of this range, which again, we have the starting, it's not even a starting cost. It's just typically here on the lower side of a web app audit, it's going to fall at $2,500. And then let's say the middle of the road is going to be $5,500. And then on the very higher side, it's going to be $13,500. But again, we're going to look at those various factors, and that's going to determine where your final quote ends up at. If you would like to find out more about accessible.org audits, you can visit accessible.org/audits. I will include a link to this in the description for this video, and we will continue on with the next video in this series.